Hey guys, this is Brian Mounts. I run turfmechanic.com and this channel, and today I'm going to be talking to you about dethatching. I'm going to be talking to you about dethatching in the winter. Is it a good idea? When is it a good idea? Why is it not a good idea? Let's talk about all of those things. For the love, it is a nice, warm, sunny day. This feels like spring. This really feels like spring. That's probably what you're thinking if you're watching this at the end of winter on a nice, warm, sunny day. Thing is, it's still winter. Right here, as I'm recording this, it's the end of January. This is a really random day. Just a couple days ago, my kids were out in the front yard on our front hill sledding. We had a lot of snow on the ground and it all melted off yesterday. A nice warm front came in. Today it's all sunny and it's like almost 50 degrees out here. Very unseasonal. If you're watching this at the end of January or February or early March, it's very common to experience days like this. It's common to experience a week like this. And during those weeks, man, it's really tempting to get outside and do something for the lawn. For the most part, most people understand that it's still too early to go fertilizing the lawn and pretending that spring has come. I have an entire video about fertilizing your lawn and when you start doing it at the end of winter and the beginning part of spring. Make sure to look at that if you haven't already. So if we're not going to be fertilizing the lawn and it's not really growing yet and we're really tempted to get outside, it's really common to look down at the grass and just see all this dead stuff, this brown stuff. The thing is, it's not dead, it only looks dead. I don't know, over the course of winter, we've just grown accustomed to seeing brown, and then slowly, and we think about it as dormant, but over time we start wondering, I mean, months pass between the time that we last mowed the grass. Is it really alive? For the most part, most of it is still alive. There's certainly going to be dead spots and thinning that happens over the winter, especially in those places that get heavy traffic. And generally speaking, you're going to find some legit dead stuff on the ground. This is mostly older grass blades and clippings and things that were from the late season in the fall that never actually decomposed or broke down and kind of assimilated into the soil because everything got too cold. As you know, bacteria slows down as the temperature drops. So later in the fall season, if we're not bagging the clippings, a lot of them do stay on the ground. So dethatching is a way to pull up those clippings. So just a light dethatching here, and I've got a ton of dead stuff. Now I'm not going to do that much more because my ground is way too wet from all the snow melt, but getting the job done, is he?
Yeah. Some of the grass kind of pulled out of the ground.
Some of the grass pulled out of the ground?
Yeah. See, there's much dirt.
Oh man. It's probably too muddy, huh?
Yeah.
But it is really tempting to sit there and pull all of this material off the ground. And here's what I'm going to say. If the ground is wet like this, which it commonly is towards the end of winter because of all of the moisture that comes down in the form of rain and snow and just kind of sits there. In the summer, it evaporates off through heat. But in the winter, there's such a small amount of light out, like sunlight out, and the temperatures are cooler. Everything stays moist for a long time. So if you grab a thatching rake or an electric dethatcher, or maybe you go down to your tool rental place and get a hardcore rental machine to dethatch your lawn, you are going to rip things out of the ground, crown, root, and all. It just comes up so easy. Using one of these things is for the most part going to damage your lawn. Now, if your lawn is dry, that risk is significantly less. And in certain scenarios, if it's late enough in the season and you're having warm enough temperatures, it might be a decent idea to go and dethatch a portion of your yard like this. So this is what I call my hill yard. This is on the west side of our house. A couple years ago, this entire yard space was field grass. It was just a natural hillside. We fenced it in and I just started cutting it, and it has slowly transformed into what you see here. In fact, where I'm sitting right now, I've never seeded here. This is just the product of mowing and watering over the course of a year and a half or so. If you have a yard like this, or a yard that is in really bad shape, maybe you just moved into a house, maybe you had a big house renovation and the whole yard is just tore up. If your yard is not in good shape at all and you have tons of dead material, like dead grass clippings on it, and the soil underneath the grass that's there is not muddy and wet like this, I mean, look at that, it's just mud coming up. If it's dry, then you can go ahead and do that towards the end of winter here, because that's going to get the dead material off the ground and it's going to reveal more soil surface. And once that soil surface is revealed, the light is going to warm it up a little bit better, a little bit quicker in the season, and it's going to slowly warm up the remaining grass. Also, if you want to do a spring overseeding, scraping up that ground, getting off some of this dead material is going to help with the process of spring overseeding. If, however, you have a nice lawn down on the, like I have down on my lower main yard, it is really not the best time to pull out any form of dethatching rake. So if you pull out a dethatching rake or an electric machine or some other machine that you rent or spend thousands to buy, it's really the worst time of the year to do it in winter. And here's why. Everything is dormant, which means nothing is growing. Everything is delicate because all of the energy of that plant is down in the root system. So any grass blade that's sitting on top is susceptible to damage, whether you're walking on it in the winter or you are ripping it apart with a dethatching tool. The crowns of that grass can be damaged very easily. Now, in the spring and the fall, when grass is growing the most, it is able to repair that damage simply because it is in active growth mode. But during the winter, during dormancy, nothing is growing. So if you damage the plant, it's not going to repair itself because it's not actively growing. So you damage the crown of the grass, the root system is still asleep. So all of the energy and the nutrients and everything that is in that plant that could repair the grass blade and the grass crown, it's not going to happen because the grass is still asleep. The plant is still asleep. So if you go over a nice manicured lawn in the end of winter before the lawn wakes up and starts actively growing, you're going to be damaging the plant, and that is going to stunt its growth, if not kill it altogether. Now, generally you're going to just stunt its growth, which means once, naturally speaking, the grass wants to wake up out of winter, it's not going to do that as quickly, and as it wakes up, it's not going to be growing as vigorously because it can't grow. It has to repair the crown of the grass blade itself before it can start sending shoots up. So if you do want to dethatch a nice lawn like you see down there, you're going to have to expect a delay in your spring flush. This time of year, even in February or early March, if your lawn hasn't woken up and started actively growing and you take a dethatching rake or machine to it, you will slow the grass down as it comes out of winter and starts entering into that growth phase. It will be slower to green up, it will be slower to start growing vigorously, and generally speaking, it will recover for the most part, but you're going to have a lackluster spring lawn for a lot longer than you want. Now again, here, this lawn is not thick. This lawn is not special at all. This is just lawn space. This has potential. Now in this scenario, I don't really care too much about damaging the grass that's here. So I don't want to damage the soil structure. So I don't want to be like raking mud piles up. But the grass that's here is not particular. I don't care too much about it. This is the kind of grass that I would like to get the dead material off and then overseed. So if your lawn does look more like this, hey Wilson, yeah, I know you're a big guy. Okay, sit down, sit. Good boy, yeah. So if your lawn does look like this and you want to repair it this spring, then that is the perfect time at the end of winter to get all the dead material off the ground, loosen up that top layer of soil, because that's the perfect area, that's the perfect seed bed for overseeding in the spring. Now you can go over the top and kill everything off and just start with a fresh slate. That is a large undertaking, and it's more work than most people really want to put into a lawn. Most people just really want a respectable lawn. So if you're going to overseed, that's the perfect time, is to dethatch at the end of winter on a nice warm day, but only if the ground is dry. You have to do it on dry days. Otherwise, you're just going to be moving mud around and everything is going to be a mess. There are a number of mistakes that people make in the winter when tending to their lawn, mostly because people just want to get a jump start on spring. Dethatching, there's only a few scenarios where it works and it makes sense to dethatch in winter. There are other mistakes. Make sure to watch this video linked up here over my dog. It's a good list of some of the most common mistakes people make in their lawns in the winter. And if you're coming into spring, if you're planning for spring, make sure to watch the video that I have linked down in the description. It is the hub for my spring lawn care guide, my spring lawn care series. If you actually want to get a jump on spring and do it right, make sure to watch that, and you're probably going to have a better lawn than your neighbors are this year. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.